All right, welcome to my presentation. Today we will be talking about Yayoi Kusama. So a little bit about Kusama's background and her life. She was born in 1929 in Japan, and when she was a child, she started having hallucinations, which influenced much of her work because it based off a lot of what her art looked like and a lot of the hallucinations, which is why she added so many polka dots and weird abstracted shapes, is because a lot of those were based off of what she was seeing in these hallucinations. And as I was doing research, I couldn't tell if it was just one hallucination or she had multiple. But a lot of her artwork was influenced by this experience as a child. Then around age 20, Kusama started art school at Kyoto Municipal School of Arts and Crafts in Japan. And her parents tried to persuade her to go into a different career and not go into art school, but she was set on going to art school and she was super excited and continued onward in this. So her parents let her go and continue in the art field. So after she graduated and started off her career, she moved to New York City in 1958, where she worked on lots of art and progressed in the art field. In 1975, she moved back to Tokyo to live in the Siwa Hospital because of a lot of mental health issues that she was going through. In her early work, this is when her use of polka dots started. A large reason why she decided to use polka dots was because of these hallucinations that she was having as a child. And so she started drawing these on to kind of show what they looked like, and it became a common theme and persisted throughout her career and is now one of the things that she is best known for because of her common theme of so many polka dots in a lot of her different artworks. So a lot of early experiences that influenced her work were those hallucinations, and then another one is her parents' relationship. And this affected a lot of her work because her parents' relationship was an arranged marriage and it was loveless because of that. And that led to later influences on a lot of her later work because she watched their relationship and how it affected them and became a lot of themes of a lot of direct and indirect themes of that relationship. And then with her family's seed garden, it influenced her in a lot of her work, but especially the work that is featured in the New York Botanical Gardens because of those ties to nature and a lot of those memories that she made with those in that seed garden, which then ties into all of the artwork she created. And then the last thing that's tied in with her early work is her time she spent at the Kyoto Municipal School of Arts and Crafts, which I don't know if I pronounced that correctly because it was in Japan. While she was there, they taught her, and she worked mostly in Nihonga, which is another Japanese style of paint, which I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but is a style of painting that was created and done mostly in Japan. So she worked mainly in that during her time at the School of Arts and then later transitioned out of that into other fields. So her work in New York, she moved to New York City in 1958, and this is where she had her first exhibition. During this time, which was about a decade or two that she spent in New York, she worked with a lot of famous artists, including George O'Keeffe, Andy Warhol, Clay Oldenburg, Donald Judd, Joseph Cornell, and a lot of other artists involved in the avant-garde era and work. So this influenced a lot of her style, and it changed into a lot more of what we see today. And then a lot of the different cultural movements and all of that was happening in the United States during the time she was living there influenced her work as well. Things like the Vietnam War protests, counterculture, and the civil rights movements all were tied into her artwork, and this was a large influencing factor in how her art was created during this time. So then currently, all her current work, she moved back to Tokyo in the mid-70s to stay at Siwa Hospital, where she took a break from art to focus on getting better and all of her mental health issues. So after taking a break from that and figuring out a lot of those, she started working again in the art fields in 1993. And this is about the time her artwork began becoming recognized all across the globe and across the world, and not just in Japan and America, where she had been spending a lot of her time. And she's still working on new projects and exhibitions to this day. So this is one of the museums that is created for Yayoi Kusama. A lot of other museums that she's been in and have had exhibitions of her, but this one is dedicated specifically to Kusama. It is in Japan and was opened in 2017. It was created to promote Kusama's work and the message she spreads about the love for humanity and world peace. Then it celebrates a lot of her accomplishments that she has gotten while being an artist. One of the things is all the exhibitions she's been in across the world. Another thing it celebrates is her title as the most popular artist in 2014 after recording over 2 million visitors at her Latin American and Asian tours. And then one of the other things that it is celebrated in this museum specifically is receiving Japan's Order of Culture in 2016. These are just some of her many, many accomplishments, and that is promoted during this and celebrated in this museum. And then what makes Kusama unique and why I decided to do a presentation on her is one of the things that I love is her use of polka dots in almost every piece. I think it's really interesting because it's something so stylized and something I wouldn't choose to do in a lot of my work, but after learning why all her pieces are so brightly colored and polka dotted and all of that, I have come to appreciate a lot more about her artwork and her, which I think is really interesting. And then her stylization and transformation of technique that she's used over the years, I also love, because watching an artist grow and develop their skills and see all the stylization that they come and how they get recognized and their specific techniques and styles that are specific to them, I love watching and seeing the things that become more prevalent in a lot of their work and like specific styles versus and seeing how that changes and what things stay the same and what things are different. I love watching just because it shows how much the artist changes. And then a lot of the themes she portrays in her pieces, like humanity, world peace, sex, the male body, a lot of those are themes that I don't necessarily add into my work, but I can appreciate, and are a lot of things that she adds in that makes a lot of her pieces unique. And then, thank you so much. This is my bibliography of all the sources that I pulled this information from.